Amazon's Project Kuiper takes aim at Starlink as the satellite internet race intensifies. Doge is accused of creating a massive surveillance system with data from U.S. systems. A judge may hold Apple in contempt for defying a court order, opening a door for Fortnite to return to iOS. Microsoft pledges to shield European cloud services amid rising geopolitical tensions, and Canada sets a world record in nuclear fusion. Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. The satellite internet landscape is rapidly evolving, with Amazon's Project Kuiper emerging as a formidable competitor to SpaceX's Starlink. Amazon has initiated the deployment of its advanced Ka-01 satellites. They're equipped with phased array antennas, custom processors, optical inter-satellite links, and anti-reflective coatings to minimize their impact on night sky visibility. These satellites are transitioning from an initial orbit of 450 kilometers to an operational altitude of 630 kilometers using electric propulsion systems, where they will then undergo comprehensive testing for end-to-end connectivity. To support this ambitious endeavor, Amazon has secured over 80 future launches through partnerships with entities such as ULA, Blue Origin, Arianespace, and even SpaceX. The next satellite batch, Ka-02, is already in preparation. Commercial service is anticipated to commence in late 2025, with Amazon planning to deploy over 3,200 satellites to establish a robust global network. While Starlink currently leads with over 7,000 satellites and a user base exceeding 5 million across more than 70 countries, the emergence of Kuiper signifies a shift towards increased competition in the satellite internet sector. And other players are entering the fray. Europe's IRIS project, backed by the EU, aims to deploy multi-orbit satellite constellations to enhance connectivity and digital sovereignty. Canada is advancing its own national satellite internet initiative to serve remote and underserved regions. And additionally, U.S.-based Viasat is developing high-capacity geosynchronous satellites targeting defense and commercial markets. The entry of these new competitors marks the end of Starlink's solitary dominance in the satellite internet arena. And while Starlink is still well-funded, they may sense some vulnerability, particularly with Elon Musk's declining popularity that appears to have had a huge impact on Tesla sales and profit, so much so that the Tesla board is now looking at possible replacement candidates for the CEO. This, and maybe some attempts at fence mending, may be one reason why Starlink has started offering free satellite equipment to Canadian subscribers in exchange for a 12-month commitment. As Amazon's Kuiper progresses towards operational status and other initiatives gain momentum, the satellite broadband market is poised for a significant transformation, driven by innovation, strategic partnerships, and a focus on global connectivity. A new piece in the New York Times warns that the U.S. Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge, led by Elon Musk, is amassing an unprecedented trove of personal data on American citizens. The system, critics say, resembles surveillance tools found in authoritarian regimes. Investigative journalist Julia Angwin reports that Doge is building what she calls a database of ruin, a centralized system pulling data from across federal agencies into a single master file. Citing whistleblower accounts, Angwin writes that Doge has accessed sensitive personal data from the Internal Revenue Service, Social Security Administration, and Department of Health and Human Services, among others. This is what we were always scared of, says Kevin Bankston, a civil liberties lawyer and AI policy expert at the Center for Democracy and Technology. The infrastructure for turnkey totalitarianism, he says, is there for an administration willing to break the law. Doge workers have reportedly also used artificial intelligence to analyze communications within federal agencies to identify individuals suspected of opposing Musk or Trump. In some cases, whistleblowers claim that Doge employees have physically transported laptops containing purloined data between agencies. The Privacy Act of 1974 was designed to prevent cross-agency misuse of personal information, but Angwin argues it lacks enforcement power. Courts have so far ruled against Doge in at least 2 lawsuits, temporarily blocking access to data from the Treasury and Social Security Administration. However, the fate of data already obtained remains unclear. In no other country could a person like Elon Musk rummage through government databases and gather up the personal data of government employees, taxpayers, and veterans, said Mark Rotenberg, founder of the Center for AI and Digital Policy. The revelations have sparked renewed calls for a dedicated U.S. data protection agency, a standard already adopted by all other OECD countries. Without one, Angwin argues, citizens are left to file Privacy Act requests and rely on a patchwork of court decisions. Proposed reforms include legislation from Senators Ed Markey and Ron Wyden to strengthen privacy enforcement and defund or repeal Doge's mandate. As Angwin warns, once we create a database of ruin, none of us are safe from having our information, no matter how innocuous, used against us. A federal judge has ruled that Apple violated a 2021 injunction by continuing to charge fees on external app purchases, referring the case for possible criminal contempt. The decision forces Apple to allow developers to link to alternative payment methods without imposing commissions, prompting Epic Games to announce Fortnite's imminent return to the U.S. App Store. U.S. District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers has determined that Apple willfully failed to comply with a 2021 court order requiring the company to permit app developers to direct users to external payment options. Despite the injunction, Apple implemented a policy charging a 27% commission on such transactions, which the judge deemed a deliberate evasion of the court's mandate. This was a deliberate choice by Apple to extract commissions on purchases made outside the App Store in direct violation of the court's order, Judge Gonzalez-Rogers stated. She criticized Apple's leadership, noting that CEO Tim Cook chose poorly by disregarding advice from senior executives to comply with the injunction. The judge's ruling prohibits Apple from charging any commission on purchases made outside of apps, restricting how developers present links or buttons directing users to external purchasing options. In response, Apple expressed strong disagreement with the decision but confirmed it would comply with the order while pursuing an appeal. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney announced that Fortnite would return to the U.S. iOS App Store next week. He also proposed a global resolution. If Apple extends the court's friction-free Apple tax-free framework worldwide, we'll return Fortnite to the App Store worldwide and drop current actions. The ruling may mark the end of a battle between Apple and Epic Games, potentially altering the dynamics of App Store commerce. Developers may now have more freedom to implement alternative payment methods without incurring additional fees from Apple. The decision could also influence other tech giants and prompt further scrutiny of App Store policies worldwide. In response to escalating concerns over U.S. government influence on cloud operations, Microsoft has taken the step of committing to legally contest any orders that would disrupt its European data centers. The company also announced a significant expansion of its European infrastructure to reinforce trust and ensure digital resilience across the continent. Amid growing apprehension about the security of data stored by U.S. tech giants, Microsoft's president Brad Smith declared that the company would promptly and vigorously contest any directive from any government that seeks to suspend or cease its cloud operations in Europe. This assurance comes as European leaders and customers are expressing unease over potential geopolitical disruptions, particularly under the current U.S. administration. To bolster its commitment, Microsoft unveiled plans to increase its European data center capacity by 40% over the next 2 years, enhancing service reliability and data sovereignty for European clients. Furthermore, Microsoft introduced the Microsoft Cloud for Sovereignty, a suite designed to provide governments and public sector customers with greater control over their data, including options for data residency, encryption, and administrative access. The move is part of Microsoft's broader strategy to align more closely with European values and regulatory expectations. Microsoft's proactive stance reflects a broader industry trend where U.S.-based cloud providers are seeking to address European concerns about data privacy, sovereignty, and geopolitical stability. By reinforcing its infrastructure and legal commitments, Microsoft aims to maintain its market position in Europe, which accounts for a significant portion of its global revenue. This development also underscores the increasing importance of digital sovereignty for European nations, prompting discussions about reducing reliance on foreign technology providers and fostering homegrown alternatives. And finally, General Fusion, a Canadian company based in Richmond, British Columbia, has achieved a significant milestone in nuclear fusion by generating 600 million neutrons per second using its magnetized target fusion, or MTF, technology. This breakthrough brings the prospect of sustainable fusion energy closer to reality. The company set a new world record by producing these 600 million neutrons per second using the company's recent plasma compression science, or PCS, experiments, marking a pivotal step towards practical fusion energy. The MTF method employed by General Fusion involves mechanically compressing plasma within a spherical tokamak. Now, a tokamak is a device designed to confine the hot, electrically charged gas known as plasma using powerful magnetic fields. But instead of the usual magnetic structure, the company is using a liquid metal liner and high-powered pistons, and this technique eliminates the need for superconducting magnets or high-powered lasers and potentially reduces the cost and the complexity in fusion reactor design. The key advancements from the PCS experiments include a 190-fold increase in plasma density, a 13-fold enhancement in magnetic field strength, and improved plasma stability and confinement times exceeding compression durations. Now, these results have been published in the peer-reviewed journal Nuclear Fusion, validating the efficacy of General Fusion's approach. Dr. Michael Laberge, founder and chief science officer of General Fusion, stated, "During our PCS series, General Fusion was the first in the world to compress a spherical tokamak plasma with a collapsing metal liner, and we are thrilled to now share in a peer-reviewed publication of the results we achieved in demonstrating fusion from MTF through this experimental campaign." MTF technology could accelerate the development of commercially viable fusion power plants, potentially transforming the global energy landscape and contributing to efforts against climate change. The company's next objective is the development of what they're calling the Lawson Machine 26, a large-scale demonstration reactor aimed at achieving higher fusion yields and moving closer to the goal of electricity generation from fusion by the early to mid-2030s. This achievement puts Canada at the forefront of fusion research and underscores the country's commitment to pioneering solutions for global energy challenges. And that's our show. A little longer than normal, but there's a lot happening. Join us this weekend for #Trending the Weekend edition with my special guest, Dave Howlett. Dave will talk to us about how we can cope with the increasing animosity and division that seems to have invaded our workspaces as well as our private social interactions. You can catch us on Saturday morning or whenever you listen to long-form podcasts. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a fabulous Friday.